Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video I have another one of these redecorating squishies. I am just showing you this one as it's obviously already in the thumbnail and didn't want to blur it out as last time. I feel like pixelation on the intro was a little bit too much, but once I get more into these I will kind of work it out. So anyway, let's just get started into the video. So the first one that I am going to be redecorating is this little kind of steam bun kind of squishy. I don't know what you call it, but it is just like a bun shape. Now I don't like the colour on this one and I don't like the face, so what I decided to do was completely cover it in a pink puffy paint mixture. I just completely covered the front of the squishy first, all the round dome shape, and then I hung it up to dry and did the back on a separate time. This was so that I didn't smudge the paint with my finger. Once the shape was completely painted in pink, I just cut off the little loop and then just painted on a little face on the front with some black puffy paint, and I just did this with a mini paintbrush. Now I did actually mess up the mouth a couple of times, but because I had done such a big like thick layer of that pink puffy paint all over it, it was really easy to wipe off with just a wet wipe. What I then did was just repainted over it after I washed that off and made it just as the way I liked it, with a nice thin mouth and two larger eyes. With a darker pink puffy paint mixture, I just painted on some blush either side of the eyes, and going back in with the same colour pink that I painted the whole thing with, I just patched that over where I cut the little loop off. Once that was dry, my squishy was then complete. So as you can see here, it's really nice and simple. I'm really happy with it, and it has turned out super slow rising. Now at this point I was a kind of like, not disappointed, but kind of a bit like bored of it waiting to rise up, as it was just a tiny bit too slow. So what I did was I turned it over and just cut a little hole in the paint. You can also put little pinholes in it or whatever you want, but I decided to cut a little hole as that's usually what I end up doing and it works out just fine for me. I did pop the little hole on one of the edges so it wasn't like so in your face, and yeah, that's basically what I did to stop it being so slow rising, as you can see here. So yeah, as you can see, once I cut the hole, the squishy now rises at a perfect slow risiness for me. Obviously it depends on your preference of whether or not you want to do this, but there's always an option if it's too slow. Now I'm really happy with the softness of this, and it hasn't changed in texture at all since I painted it, and yeah, I just feel like it looks so much cuter. I did actually put a little bit of brown paint on the bottom with my fingers because my fingers actually had brown paint on, and as I'm saying this now, they still do. I mean, it was only about an hour ago that I actually filmed that, but yeah, I did kind of get a bit of brown paint on the bottom, but either way, I'm really happy with how this one turned out. So for my second redecorated one today, I have this, and this is the one that I was super confused with what it was on the unboxing, but you guys came through and let me know that it was a Snoopy popsicle, just painted in green with a yellow flower on for some reason, so I decided to make it back into one of those so we could really tell what it was. I peeled the flower off, and then taking my scissors I just smoothed out any imperfections that were caused by me ripping it off so like aggressively. I did actually like make a few indents where there shouldn't have been any, but I just smoothed them out with my scissors. What I then did was took a white puffy paint, and this was just mixed up from yesterday, and I just popped this all over the top of the popsicle and smoothed it out as much as I could. I also attached one of those little lobster clasps onto the little phone charmy bits so that I could hang it up to dry. So once the white was fully dry, what I then went ahead and did was took a light beige colour and I just painted the stick with this. Now a lot of people call it a popsicle stick, some people call it a lollipop stick. I'm in the UK, so I call it a lollipop stick. both the same thing, but you know what I mean. Please don't get mad at me, because people do get mad at me on a daily basis, but I'm not going to change the way I say it, because that's the way I say it. Anyway, with some black puffy paint, I just painted on all the details of Snoopy onto the very front of the popsicle, following the indentations that were on the original squishy, showing through the white paint. I just painted this on, and once dry, I was really happy with it, because now you can actually tell what it is and what it's supposed to be, which of course is always a winner. So I just want to say a huge thank you to everyone who obviously responded to the question of trying to find out what this squishy was. Like, honestly, this had me puzzled for days as to what it was. I think the green and the yellow were just throwing me off, and yeah, I'm just really happy that we can actually now tell what exactly it is. So the third DIY, I decided to obviously redecorate a donut, and you've already seen how this one turns out, but I just removed all the ugly sprinkles and all the ugly kind of dripping that was all over it, just ripped it all off, just ready to start afresh. Now, there were a lot of indentations and stuff like that all over, so I just cut off the first layer of the donut to smooth it all out with my scissors. Once smoothed out, I then took a small piece of memory foam and just cut out the little ear bits of cinnamoroll. And if I'm saying that wrong again, you're more than welcome to correct me in the comments, because I don't know how to say half these names, and to be honest, I feel like I live in a little world of my own where my accent just says something else completely than what it is, and I don't know, I just say words really strange. I've realised since starting YouTube, especially this year, that I do actually say words really differently to other people, so yeah, sorry about that if that annoys you. I really can't help it, but yeah, that's just the way I talk. So what I did was just basically cut these down to size to make the ear shapes for the donut. What I then did was took a minuscule amount of hot glue and just hot glued them onto either side of the donut. You can of course use fabric glue if you prefer, but I don't use a lot of hot glue so that it will like make a really like dense kind of hot glue section inside, like a hard lump. Like, I really don't use that much at all, so I don't have that problem, but if you're afraid of that, you can use fabric glue instead. So once the ears were fully attached, I then took some white puffy paint and just painted the very top of the squishy in this colour, including the ears, the back and the inside of the donut. I didn't bother painting the bottom because I was going to be painting that pink anyway and didn't see the point in wasting any more white paint. So once the white was fully dry, I then went on with a light pink colour, and I just kind of patted this all over the very bottom and inside of the donut with a smaller brush. Now the reason I did this with a brush was just because when redecorating squishies, it is really easy to kind of use paintbrushes. Rather than just painting on sponge, it kind of just smooths on a little bit better. So I think I might like paintbrushes when like smoothing on paint. I don't know. Anyway, with a light blue puffy paint, I just painted on Cinnamoroll's face, including the two eyes and just a little mouth in between. And then with the same pink that I used on the very bottom, I just painted on 2 bits of blush either side of the eyes. With a lavender lilac colour, I just painted on a little bow in the pink, and I actually did this while the pink was still wet so that it would kind of blend in a little bit. It wasn't like blended, but it kind of like seeped in, it was all at the same level, and that was just what I was going for. Now once the paint was fully dry, my squishy was again complete, and the redecoration of this one is definitely my favourite, and that is why it made it to the thumbnail. I just love it so much, and I think it just looks so kawaii and so realistic, like the actual Cinnamoroll squishy. So yeah, I'm really happy with it, and I feel like it just looks tons better than the cheap squishy that I had originally, especially with that horrible green colour, because I am not a fan. Now the only downfall with this is that the pink paint kind of sticks to the white paint. I don't know why this is, it just keeps happening, but it does kind of stick back down and it does unstick when you squish it that way. So anyway, once this squishy was then complete, that was obviously all the redecorations for today, because I'm finding the balance of 3 per video to actually be quite a good thing, you know? I don't really know. Anyway, so yeah, I actually put the onsen like little bun somewhere that I just couldn't find when I went to do the outro, which is just brilliant. So yeah, so hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give it a thumbs up, as it really does help me to see what type of videos you want to see in the future, like I always say. Yeah, hopefully you enjoyed it, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye!